about 5 or 6 years ago, the state fleet administrators, DOT administrators, started talking about performance metrics in equipment management. They were trying to elevate the level of the quality of the management of their fleets. And they got together and made a presentation at their state their national conference years ago, and then presented that to the AASHTO Subcommittee on Maintenance, which approved it. And one of the people that was involved in that process was Rick Durham, who works with KYTC. And Rick made the comment to me and several others within Agile Assets that his goal is to have the very best fleet in the nation. And he wants to be the best fleet manager in the nation and wants to have the very best fleet software of anybody in the nation. And so he got with some of people in the department, including Golam, and Golam has actually been the one that has worked so closely with KYTC to really make a big, I think it's a huge change in their software. And so Aaron Collins, I don't think Rick could be here today, and he's solicited Aaron Collins to make his presentation with Golam. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to Aaron. You got some big shoes to fill, man.
Yeah, I know, yeah. Yeah, as Jim said, this week is our annual auction. So bring in a lot of money, I guess, and all the brass thought they should be around for that. So they sent me instead. How do you get this started? Did you see our presentation? So yeah, they kind of switcherooed me, so I'm here. But they sent the slides, so we'll go through. Okay, yeah. So yeah, that's me, and Golem's going to do the back end. I'm going to kind of just go over the details of the equipment branch themselves, and then he'll get into the metrics part of it and all the technical things. The way it works in Kentucky is we have an equipment division and we have a fleet division, and basically anything under a ton kind of falls on our fleet, our cars, our SUVs, vans, those types of things, and then our equipment's everything on either side, the smaller stuff, the washer or the dump trucks, graders, those types of heavier equipment, and then they do the pressure washers, generators, welders, chainsaws, all those types of things. They calculated that their fixed asset value is around $263 million, and they maintain their system with about, I think this year their budget was about $56 million to handle what they have. And basically the equipment, the way they do it, they're kind of a one-stop shop. They handle all their own repairs, their purchases, they buy all their own parts. All of that happens with Rick's group there, and so then they also do all of the retro fittings as well. So they'll put on the radios. Each year they'll put on the plows, the spreaders, the hoppers, all of those types of things. And the primary customers are our branch, the Division of Maintenance, Traffic Operations, and Materials. The way they kind of attack maintaining all of these vehicles is they have 14 locations. Kentucky's broken into 12 districts. So each district has an equipment garage, and then there's a couple garages in some of the more remote areas that would struggle to get their vehicles to one of these handy locations. So we have 17 of those, and at those locations you have your supervisors. The district manager will have one district guy in charge of each district, but then there'll be superintendents and all the different staff at each one of those locations to handle anything that you would need. So what they've done here in the past few years, since they're kind of under a different umbrella than we are in maintenance, but they're wanting to make these improvements to their software, and the only problem was they kind of had to go through me to get all that stuff done, and maintenance doesn't want to pay for all of these things anymore for them. So their list got so big that we kind of kicked them out and said, you all need to set up your own contract with Agile and kind of take this on, if this is what you want to do. So instead of me implementing it and doing everything for them, being the middleman, they're doing it themselves now, which is great. But here are the things that they're getting put in place with this enhancement package that they've recently got. Preventive maintenance implementation. They're going to track their downtime, put together some type of replacement analysis, monitor their utilization, some tweaks to the inquiry report, and what sparked all of this is their fueling interface. So the preventative maintenance aspect of it is kind of like what you would expect. I work in the pavement branch, so every time I try to push preventative maintenance to anyone, I use the oil change example. So in this example, I guess you could look at it as maintaining your pavements, but they're going to set up some things that I guess will set off triggers to allow when vehicles are come up for maintenance, either based on time, mileage, hours, whatever parameters you define. Another thing that they're going to monitor is the downtime tracking. So, it's two things that are involved in that. There's the availability and the downtime. So how often is the vehicle out there running when it can be, and how much time are we losing with it in the shop or broke down beyond repair? The replacement analysis. This is something that they're putting in to kind of look at the system or look at certain types of vehicles or the system as a whole, and set up some parameters to try to define, something that would kind of warn you, I guess, so they can look to see what needs to be replaced. They can do it either based on age, usage, or, costs of repairs based to the cost of the vehicle, things like that. So I guess they're going to want to calculate the individual aspects that are due for replacement, track and manage the fleet that is due for replacement, establish thresholds. So I guess these are all things that they'll come up with themselves once they start crunching this data and figuring out, where they want to start drawing their lines. And then, Golam, you want to take this last sentence here? It hurts my head every time I read it. Do you know what it means, what they're saying there?
The criteria you're setting, how many different parameters you'll be considering for replacing your equipment, useful life, maximum mile, downtime tracking, and percentage of repair to cost. All those criteria you are considering to make an optimum solution, how many vehicles or units are candidate to replace in the near future. So I'll cover that part in the software.
Okay, yeah. And I guess some of your replacement typical parameters, miles, age, how much you spend to keep the thing running, its downtime, how much you're using it. If you have 2 or 3 vehicles assigned to one location and they're all being used 30% of the time, maybe you only need 2, maybe you only need 1. So those types of things can really cut down on waste. Utilization, of course, it's just indicates how often a vehicle is being used. A lot of our equipment's measured in hours. Most of it is, but they can, I guess, to determine your utilization, you can turn it into a percent and go by whatever thing you set up there. And then it's allow them to track and manage number of underutilized fleet units. So that's important, that we're not just having a lot of stuff sitting out on the lot, it's not being used. It happens a lot. Everybody wants the new thing. They want to drive the new vehicle around, and the old one kind of just sits off in the corner and never gets used. Are they, with these different types of utilization, are they doing a monthly, a 12-month rolling, or is it they're going to pick one? They haven't established these things yet, have they?
Yeah, what Rick is seeing, the way he would calculate the utilization is like the monthly utilization, seeing for the last 6 months utilization, month-to-month basis. Then another aspect is seeing the rolling annual utilization, always seeing the last 12 months of utilization and average them per month, so that will be a more efficient way of seeing the things. And it is always the calendar year utilization. So 3 different aspects he is seeing the utilization, and based on that he is making a decision how many vehicles he can cut to reduce the fleet size, or if he needs to buy some new units for a specific class code, that's his justification of whether I am utilizing this specific class code more, so I need more units to be added here.
That probably also helps them make a determination, do I rent this piece of equipment versus purchase?
Purchase them.
Mhm.
So you say there's a huge savings that way.
Okay. The other thing they had put in place was their inquiry report. Well, actually, the report has been here a while. This window, something goes wrong with it. It makes you wonder how we ever got by without it, because they don't know how to do anything anymore. But there was some problems with it when it was initially sent. The comments field, you could only actually see like the first 15 characters, and it would cut it off. And they write paragraphs and paragraphs of all the different things, the fuel filters, all the different parts and things that goes with it. So they wanted some way to be able to see the full comments. Now I guess they can right click and print it out. And
Yeah, this is a custom Jasper report. They can print directly from the window. It will be right click, show report, boom. All the attributes will be in the report, and it can be printed out right away.
it kind of merges. Ultimately, what it merges is like your rental rate window, your inventory window, and everything into one screen, so that you get all of the pertinent information. You know what your mileage rates are, your thresholds, and all of those things. And then the fueling report, and this is kind of what sparred them to kind of get kicked out from under our umbrella, was that our fueling interface, they just sent us a flat file, and every once in a while they would keep getting new changes in management, and the new person, they would say, hey, can we change these credit card numbers? And they would do them, and they would add extra fields, and then next interface, everything would fail, and now the company can't figure out how to send it to us in another way, and all. So they kept breaking their own fuel report. So ultimately, we made them kind of get this get with Agile and put one in. But so now I assume they're actually loading the fueling. They went a couple years without it.
Yeah, this is like the WEX, the typical WEX vendor is providing a monthly file every day. It's all automated through some interface. It's processing batch by batch. We are kind of validating all the data that has to come through the system and flagging all the bad data. Like sometimes people go into the gas station, buy some personal items or like crackers and those kind of things. So those are not actual fuel transactions. So interface is smart enough to log those things and only just import the fueling transaction data. So all those things are happening through the system job, and user can see all those bad data in a single screen and then figure it out, okay, whether we should keep it or discard it. Those kind of things.
Yeah, and the fueling's important because it's part of the rental rate calculation as well. So it's good that they're getting that information in now. So at this point, I'm going to pass it over to Golam for the metrics part.
Thank you very much. All right, so the next portion is the AS2 fleet performance matrix, dashboard reporting. So for this fleet performance matrix, I'll be using KYTC software platform as a showcase process. So I think those who are pretty much familiar in the fleet world, these fleet performance matrix are now what AS2 is recommending to have in every fleet system to see how their fleet system is doing in terms of performance. So a couple of years ago, AS2 with the state DOTs have initiated this multi-year effort to develop a set of national performance metrics in the transportation world. The intent is to provide a standard basis for individual states to view the fleet performance and provide a nationwide fleet performance overview. The mission statement, which organization they are managing this thing, is the EMTSP, Equipment Management Technical Services Program, with a vision to serve the comprehensive national resource supporting effective and efficient governmental highway agency fleet system. They are partnered with 4 state highway equipment managers: Midwest, Northwest, Southwest, Eastern, and Western. And EMTSP held its last conference in June 2016. The 4 fleet AS2 performance metrics identified are the preventive maintenance compliance, the replacement or retention analysis, utilization, availability, and downtime. States submits their reports to these 4 matrices to EMTSP twice a year, no later than January 10 and July 10. How many of you guys are submitting this AS2 reporting? Quite a few. So using this software platform, you will see how easy it is to produce those fleet performance metrics right from the software. So the first fleet performance matrix, preventive maintenance, timeliness. As already Aaron mentioned, we all know about preventive maintenance. We have to do our oil change or air filter change in our system. So when you are managing an asset of 8,000 or 10,000 vehicles in your DOT or state agency, you have to do your preventive maintenance quite a while. So the software is capable of tracking all the preventive maintenance in the threshold, all the criteria that should kick off the preventive maintenance, but you have to track when was the accomplishment record, what was the last time you did the preventive maintenance on the vehicle, and when is the next preventive maintenance is due, whether we are overdue for a certain amount of vehicles that people are not doing preventive maintenance for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or maybe months. So those kind of information are very important for a state fleet manager to make sure that all his guys are doing the preventive maintenance in a timely fashion. So the typical measurement are mainly on the hours and mileage, and sometimes they are both. Like some of the DOT vehicles, they have both meters, miles and hours. So software is now capable enough to track both hour and mileage threshold and calculate and record all the timeliness tracking. The efficiency of timeliness is very critical in terms of tracking the delays, and finally establish some kind of threshold that we will make sure that our statewide we will make a decision of 90% timeliness goal. So those type of timeliness can be tracked in the software. Typical activities on the preventive maintenance. First, you define your preventive maintenance. It's an oil change or a preventive maintenance 1, 2, A, B, C, whatever way you want to define. Then you pick your criteria, maybe miles or hours. Every 5,000 miles you will do preventive maintenance, or maybe 6 months you will do the preventive maintenance. You are setting up those thresholds once in a lifetime, and then the software will be tracking and keeping track when was the last time preventive maintenance was happened, and when the next time preventive maintenance will kick off. And the most important part is the very last portion is the preventive maintenance timeliness tracking, and finally see all this information through reports. So this is a screenshot of our preventive maintenance internal repair order create issue window, where you can see on the left-hand side, top corner is the preventive maintenance due. The software is automatically showing you these are the vehicles that you need to do some preventive maintenance. And on the right-hand side, the software is now calculating some more important information about what type of activity is due, the last PM completed date on the vehicle, the preventive maintenance due date, which is the last time the software runs and show you that there is a preventive maintenance due on the vehicle, the current date, and the most important is the last column where it is showing the days overdue. So this specific vehicle is preventive maintenance due for 33 days. So these are at the individual equipment level, so you can easily see each and individual asset and make sure that how many days the vehicle's preventive maintenance was overdue, and so on and so forth. And within the software will produce this type of graphical report to make more understandable about the PM accomplishment. So what this graph is showing here, all these color codes are your equipment classes. And on the y-axis is showing you the preventive maintenance due by number of days, and the y-axis represents the number of units. So X is number of days, Y is number of units, and all the color codes are based on your class codes. And the way it is representing your preventive maintenance due is based on week by week. So for the first cluster of bars is showing your 7 days. All those vehicles for that specific class codes are due for more than 7 days. Next series of bars are showing you all this preventive maintenance are due for more than 14 days, and so on and so forth. So seeing just from this graph, you will know, okay, for specific class code of vehicle, the preventive maintenance, I have 14 vehicles which preventive maintenance is due for more than 7 days, and so on and so forth. And then you can run some other reports to see, okay, which are the asset and who owns this asset, to whom is supposed to do the preventive maintenance, and call that guy and make sure that he is doing his preventive maintenance. So having this type of reporting in terms of timeliness tracking is very useful. The next criteria is replacement retention analysis. As Aaron already covered, the retention analysis is needed for making sure that you are not overutilizing your vehicle, and you are timely reducing your fleet size, purchasing new vehicles, or at least making a plan for the next couple of years so that you have enough funding available when it is crucial to purchase new vehicles or replacing vehicles. So the best practices for an organization to develop a replacement guideline based on some standard criteria like vehicle age, maximum miles, downtime tracking, life-to-date repair cost, and life cycle operating cost. So this is a screenshot of the system. I will make it a little bit zoom in to see individual window level. So what this window is now showing, the first is the equipment ID, individual asset level, all the class code. The third column is the status of the equipment. We're only seeing the replacement analysis for which the vehicle is active. The useful life, which is you are entering at the time of procurement. So for first couple of records, you are seeing the vehicle useful life is 144 months, which is 12 years. The delivered date is when the vehicle is in service. So based on that, the software is all automatically calculating how old is the vehicle. So it's now showing that on that date, the vehicle is 60 months old. And based on the useful life, there are 6 more months remaining on the vehicle. Now, for the second example, is showing you the vehicle is already exceeded its lifetime, where it's showing 144 miles and months, and 156 is the vehicle age. So the vehicle has been already exceeded its age criteria. So we're talking about the first, the useful life criteria. So the next one is the max mile. So for Kentucky, they have some kind of threshold of 150,000 miles for their heavy vehicles. At any point, the vehicle reaches 150,000 miles, they will have to replace the vehicle. So for some of these equipments, it's showing you the miles left on the specific equipment is about 53,000, and we are only considering the accumulated mileage. You know, sometimes it may happen, you may have to replace a meter as it is broken. So the software is still calculating what is the accumulated mile, which is the true mile, what we say. And based on that, it's showing you how many miles you are available on the vehicles, or whether it is already exceeded or not. Another criteria, which is another important aspect of seeing the replacement analysis, is the life-to-date repair cost per original cost. So here, Rick has a vision to show this repair cost in a color coding so that it is much more visual for a user to see and make a decision. So what threshold he is using here, anytime you have a repair cost to original cost ratio less than 20%, that should show as blue. The next criteria is 20 to 30%, 35%, it should show you green, and anything above 35% to 50% should show as yellow. And if the life-to-date repair cost to original cost is more than 50%, then it should be red. So seeing that information right from the software, you can easily determine, okay, filter the window, show me all the red color cell. That means all these equipments are already exceeded 50% of its original cost because of repair cost. So without expending more money on the vehicle, you can immediately replace those vehicles. And the last column, what we have implemented here is the downtime, which I will cover in the next slide. So this is what it's showing you, the life-to-date downtime of the vehicle. So downtime, what we are defining here is entering and exiting of a vehicle into the garage. All the time it is sitting in the garage for having the service done. That's what we call downtime. So based on these 4 different criteria, useful life, maximum mile, life-to-date repair cost, and life-to-date downtime, you can make a good decision. Okay, these are my candidate vehicles which I can replace by the end of this year or maybe next year, or so on and so forth. And also, if you do not have sufficient budget, you can prioritize your criteria. First, I will go for the life-to-date repair cost. Then I will go for the max mile. Then I go for the useful life. And based on that, you can filter the window to make a good decision, how much funding you have and how much you can spend to make a schedule. And I will show you some example that Rick is already using this software and making the schedule for next year. So let's jump into the third criteria, which is utilization. So very simple, utilization is how much you are using a vehicle for a given period of time, and you have the maximum availability. So equation is simple, sum of all your usage divided by the maximum availability. And it can be shown as a monthly basis, rolling annual basis, or yearly basis. So the maximum availability represents the maximum weekly, hourly, or annual hours an agency tracks a piece of fleet based on the hourly and excluding weekends and holidays. And the project usage is most of the time, the vehicles has been used by maintenance division and they are charging their hours. And another source is their bi-weekly or monthly usage screen from where we can get the usage. And based on all the usage coming from different sources, software is now calculating the monthly utilization of the vehicle. So here is a graph report we put together for the last 6 months of 2015, where it's showing all the class code level at the x-axis, and on the y-axis is showing you the percentage utilization. So seeing from this graph, you can see the first series, which is 207 pickup 4x4, the utilization lies below 20% all the time. But for 208 series, the truck 4x4, for certain months, maybe in October, the utilization rise up to more than 100%, and so on and so forth. So, and the next one is the same 220 series trucks, which has a lower utilization. So seeing and running this type of reports, you can make a decision, okay, we are over-utilizing 209 series trucks, where we can leverage our 220 series of pickup trucks to make sure that we are utilizing both types of work for my specific work. Or maybe you can reduce the number of pickup trucks for 207 series because the utilization is less than 20%. So, for some of the sanders, you are seeing the utilization is always higher. So maybe for those winter season, you may need more sanders. So maybe purchase or rent some new sanders for those winter season. So running this type of monthly utilization will give you a good idea about how much fleet side you should have for your agency. Now, this one is specifically made for the monthly utilization. There is another way you can make a good decision about the rolling annual average utilization. So what it does, it goes from today's date to back 12 months and always calculating the usage from all the different sources, make an average and showing you the same kind of report in percentage. So here you can get a better picture, like for your 220 series, all the time the utilization is more than 80%. So you need this type of pickup trucks, no matter which month it is, you need more this type of fleet. So either you can switch to different truck series, make sure that you are not overutilizing your specific series vehicles, or you can increase the size of the vehicle, fleet size, or maybe rent specific units. So this is another way of seeing the annual utilization report. So another way you can make sure that, okay, for this specific utilization, how many vehicles we need to replace to purchase new one. Because if you're overutilizing your existing fleet, then soon you'll be out of stock of all the fleet and you may need to purchase immediate vehicles. So make sure that you are making all the vehicles utilizing in a similar fashion. And the last and fourth ASTO fleet performance metric is the downtime tracking. Very simple. A vehicle is in the shop, that's the start of the downtime. A vehicle service has been done, out from the shop, end of the downtime. Now for accurately maintaining or calculating the downtime, that means you have to make sure that you are not overestimating the downtime. So typical working hours is 8 hours a day. So for this specific downtime tracking, the software is smart enough to calculate how many hours, how many days a vehicle is in the shop, max 8 hours a day, and excluding the weekends and holidays, so that we are not overestimating the downtime. And after that, it's showing those information into this window where it's automatically calculates as soon as you complete the repair order, it automatically calculates the downtime and show you the number of days it is down. Now for this specific window, what Rick told me that sometimes it takes some more time to actually close the repair order because there are some admin work has to be done, some billing process has to be done. So though the work has been already done, but it needs some more days, 2 or 3 days to finally close the repair order. Now, if you are keeping the repair order open for next 2 days, then you are overestimating the downtime because the vehicle is already out from the shop. So what we have done, we have replicated another window which we called repair order closed window. So they can still come and complete the repair order, but all this repair order will then go to the closed window for further admin work. So doing it that way, you can still keep the repair orders in a active status, but downtime calculation is happening correctly. So that's another way of making sure that you are not overestimating the downtime or underestimating the downtime. So we have done this window there. And finally, as downtime is always based on the asset level, we produce this type of report where in the x-axis you see individual asset name, and on the on the y-axis you are seeing the life to date downtime in days, and all these different color codings are based on your class codes. Now, just to show this one in a very nice format, I put some filters on the report, so it's just a few of them. And this report can be run for your specific district, your admin unit, for a specific class code, anyway. So these are all those 4 reports, and finally, when you are done, put all your 4 ASTO performance reports into a dashboard in a nicely manner, so that as soon as you open the system, all your fleet performance metrics are right in front of you, starting from the PM timeliness tracking, the replacement analysis window, the monthly utilization. It can be replaced with rolling monthly utilization as well, and then finally the downtime tracking. And as this is a report, you can create as many as dashboard as you want for your specific admin unit, for your specific district, or maybe for a specific class code, so on and so forth. So it's up to you. And you can create some more dashboard reporting only for utilization. Like you will create a utilization report dashboard where you will put 4 reports, one for monthly, rolling annual, 12 months utilization. So that will be your utilization dashboard. So there are many ways of seeing and making a good decision how soon a vehicle is ready to replace, or whether I'm doing my preventive maintenance, timeliness tracking in a correct way, or how much my vehicles are down for a specific repair, and so on and so forth. So these are what we call our ASTO fleet performance metric dashboard reporting. So this kind of the end of the fleet performance dashboard. So I will conclude my presentation with a specific replacement schedule from Kentucky for fiscal year 2017. And Rick was kind enough to give me this schedule for next year. So where we are seeing in the first column, these are all the class codes that Kentucky Transportation Cabinet will buy for next fiscal year. And the 2 specific columns I would like to highlight here, you see the priority schedule. This is the number of units he will buy for the next fiscal year. And the next one is the requested schedule. So 8 is immediately needed to be replaced, and 14 is what he is asking to buy. And finally, each of these units has a specific unit price and total dollar amount he will need for the next year. So this is a way, nicely way to kind of make a decision based on our replacement analysis, how many units of vehicle per class code level you need right now, or maybe in future, maybe 2 years later, and so on and so forth. So having this kind of schedule will make a good decision to secure your funding for next fiscal year, because otherwise with a 10,000 number of fleet, it's very hard to make a decision, what are my units which needs immediate replacement, or maybe I will need to replace this many units within the next 6 months or maybe 1 year. So this schedule is based on our AgileAssets replacement analysis window. And finally, this is the dollar amount I get from Rick. Fiscal year 2017 budget for equipment purchase is 31 million. Of them, the 17.5 million allocated for replacing equipment. And this is the statement that he made to me. Like, Rick, this KYTC fleet enhancement went live less than 3 months ago. And within these 3 months, he was able to make a schedule, and he made this statement to me last week that AgileAssets Fleet Replacement Analysis assist KYTC with making a quick and efficient equipment replacement schedule. So this is what we call driving user value, how we are evaluating and meeting the need for user using our software. So that's kind of conclusion of the presentation. So if you guys have any question, comment, please. Yes. You want me to say something?
No, sir. Any questions?
So
Yes.
the dashboard reports, are those Jasper reports that you guys created for Rick, or what kind of reports are those?
Oh, they are all standard reports. They are all standard reports, and they are produced right from the software.
Right, but are they a Jasper?
No,
Or?
they are all standard reports.
Hmm? They're not Jasper. No.
Question back here?
Yeah, your preventive maintenance, are you guys able to schedule preventive maintenance based off of meter 1, meter 2, and a change in daily
That's an excellent question. So, yes.
Repeat the question.
Yeah, so the question is that whether we can schedule a preventive maintenance based on meter 1 and meter 2. So those of who doesn't know that, what is meter 2? So for some of this equipment which are used in the heavy vehicle in the road maintenance, they have 12 meter. One runs on the mileage, second one runs on the meter. So what it does, what happens, a vehicle goes to the site for the actual repair or patching and whatever the road maintenance work. Then they turn the meter, our meter, and keep that running because they need to do some work from the road. So for those kind of thing, we have enhanced the software. Now you can track your preventive maintenance for both meters. You can define your preventive maintenance for meter 1 and meter 2 with mileage and hour or a combo. Now, they are mutually exclusive, so they will not hamper each other's schedule at all. If you have a preventive maintenance 1 due for meter 1, that will kick off. It will show you that you have a PM due for meter 1. And if you have a specific schedule, let's say for Kentucky, they are using 600 hours for their preventive maintenance meter 2. So when that will kick off, it will show you have a preventive maintenance due for meter 2. And they are mutually exclusive, so each will not hamper anyone. If you are doing a preventive maintenance for meter 1, the meter 2 will still show you due. And if you are doing both, it will just reset and reschedule for the next one. But that's a very good question. Yes? Mm-hmm.
The requirement fields for replacement, are there requirements? You identified 3 or 4 different inputs needed for the calculation for replacement?
Okay, so the question is that we have set 4 different criteria for replacement: max miles, useful life, life to date, downtime, and repair by original cost ratio. So when we started implementing this replacement analysis, our out-of-the-box solution was 3 criteria, which are useful life, max miles, and life-to-date repair cost by original cost. Then Rick added this downtime, which he thinks is more accurate, the way of calculating these replacement schedules, so that you can see the replacement schedule from a different perspective. And I would like to share another thing. For Georgia, we are recently implementing another criteria, which is again, life-to-date downtime, but based on statuses. So the use case here is that for Georgia, they have a big time for surplusing their vehicles. They surplus their vehicles and it goes to the junkyard. It stays there for 2 months, 3 months. Finally, they auction the vehicle and it then just go to dispose. So they want to keep track all the months it's sitting in the junkyard. And they have another use case that sometimes they don't have budget. So they need to bring back the vehicle into the service. So this in and out, they need to make a decision, okay, how many hours or days the vehicle was in the junkyard, and then we put it back. So we are implementing our 5th criteria in Georgia, where you can see downtime from 2 different perspectives. One is the downtime based on repair, when it is absolutely in the garage, not in service. Another one is it's in the junkyard sitting to be auctioned, and you are also tracking that downtime. So in Georgia, we'll have this 5, and we'll make sure that is part of our Agile core in future.
Is that 5th one, tracking downtime, optional? Part of the calculation in the background, it has to be there.
No, it's optional. If you don't want to use it, we can hide it for you. But the thing is that for useful life, max miles, there is a threshold you have to set up at the class code level. Like for every equipment, it has different useful life. For every vehicle, it has a different replacement miles. But for downtime, there is no criteria. It's up to you. How many hours you will say, okay, this is the threshold for my downtime. So yes, coming back to your question, these are not required. It's optional. If you want 3, we can turn 3 things on. Hide 2. If you want all 5, it will come all 5.
My last question is about the calendar, the calculation used for the calendar. We work on a 4/10s. Our shops are 4/10s.
Okay.
They're not 5 days a week. Is that a separate calendar that is attached to this process, or are we using a system calendar?
Absolutely. So the question is that for his specific use case, they have a separate calendar for their repairs. They do 410 4 days, 10 hours work. So definitely right now it's using the standard calendar, which is the actual one. But if you think you need a different calendar, we can tweak the code so that it will go check that specific repair calendar to make your downtime calculation. But the software is very flexible enough to capture that perspective also.
We'll take one more question.
Yes. Sure.
So, I'm from Ohio, and we have preventive maintenance set up in the system. We do our oil changes around 5,000 miles.
Yep.
So the system doesn't notify us to do the preventive maintenance until that 5,000 hits. So we're constantly behind schedule on our preventive maintenance. If you guys put something into the software that would give the managers an option to notify end users or drivers that at 80% or 90% of that 5,000 miles or a different percentage, that they need to go ahead and bring their vehicle in for service?
All right, so that's an excellent question. So I think that's what Brad is also asking from Alaska. They have a requirement to kind of notify the user well ahead when the preventive maintenance is due 80% or 70% of the threshold. It notify the user of the vehicle that, okay, you have a preventive maintenance coming within the next 10 days or maybe next month. Come bring your vehicle and do the preventive maintenance. So we're thinking kind of how we can accommodate that request into our software, and this is still in the thinking process and design process. So I think within next IUC, we'll make something for that perspective, yeah.
Because if you don't have it, you're constantly late. And then
Exactly, so,
you're all this reporting that you pass.
exactly. So right now it's only when the preventive maintenance is due, then it shoots you the email notification. So maybe you are out of office for 7 days or 2 weeks, then you are already due for 2 weeks and you are not know what is happening.
Let's give Golam and Aaron a big hand.